Sexuality in the technology age. So the technology age, we know, started with Microsoft. Okay, so we can see around the mid 90s. Okay, so sexuality for millennials and a lot of people on this planet is very numbing. So why is sexuality numbing? I've seen a lot of men, okay, so I like to read people's auras, and I read them frequently. You can learn a lot about someone by looking into their aura. And I've noticed men at various ages from 27 to 35 to 40, and they are dried up sexually. Sex for them is boring, it's stale, it's stark, it's barren. Basically, we are using sex as a stress reliever. We get anxious, we get jittery, and sex is our way of restoring. It's like a restoration. Okay, what is a restoration? Basically, we're restoring ourselves back to a calm state. Okay, so when we do that a lot, basically we numb ourselves to it. When sex becomes a restoration, meaning we get stressed, we get edgy, we get jittery, we get that release, we calm back down. Basically, we are programming ourselves to participate in sex that is without meaning. Okay, so I've seen a lot of men who are just in their 30s and they have had so much sex that now sex is just, there's just nothing special. Okay, it's nothing special to them. It's just something you do just to, because it just feels good, it just feels pleasurable. So we know men, and if you're a woman, you watch this, men are more primal than women. Okay, meaning they are more physical than women. Okay, women represent emotional beings, represent the human soul. Okay, while men, being more primitive, represent the more animal self. So with the technology age, we call it the techno stress that we're all experiencing, particularly men, because men must be self-responsible, because the technology age is requiring us to put fire on our butt and get going. So we are now having to manage our emotional sense of self, our intellectual sense of self, our sensual, our sexual, our physical. And for a lot of men, that is too much. I am overwhelmed by all the self-responsibility I have. But the Aquarian age is about health and wellness, as we know this. And health and wellness cannot be if we're not self-responsible. So for that culture of sex being just to kind of take the edge off is leading into sex that has no meaning and sex that is not special. Okay, and when sex is degraded into that, it becomes stale, stark, barren. Okay, and that's why I feel we are all quite scrambled, because we don't understand sex is not this just to take the edge off. Sex is a bond. It is an emergence of psyches. So a lot of even young people, I'm seeing their auras kind of scrambled, and I'm seeing wanky auras within people because they don't understand. Sex is very special. So and even for young boys or young men in like 25 and even upward, I'm seeing that their sexual experiences as a young boy was so much about getting the edge off that now sex, it has no sense of reverence, no sense of grace, no sense of respect. So therefore, when we do come across something that's special, okay, either we're a man or a woman, we don't have enough self-respect. We don't have enough reverence or grace within our own self to actually be able to receive that. And that's kind of what we call the great failing of our sex life, is that through participating in sex that has no respect, no reverence, no grace, basically we are blocking ourselves. Okay, we're creating psyche blocks from an actual special, meaningful, and very impactful sexual connection with someone. And by the time we can kind of get to that sexual connection, either we're 30 or 27 or however old, we're so scrambled by all of these psyche energies lingering within us, where our water is so dirty that we don't have the sensitivity, okay? We don't have the cleanliness of our waters to actually feel deeply how special that emergence is with that person that is raising our worth, rather than there to just keep us in the swamps of our dirty water, or we're just a participant with us in the swamps of our dirty water. So we don't talk about this a lot, and a lot of millennials don't talk about this a lot. But the more sensitive we become, the more we realize the perineum, which is the entryway to the vagina, is one of the most tender and soft spots. Okay, it's very tender, it's very soft, it's very vulnerable, it's very sensitive. It's probably one of the most sensitive areas for a woman, is like that entryway. Because it connects directly with that feeling of essence, that feeling of joy. So we think of that joy as like that perineum, our most innocent, uninflicted joy. So in men have a perineum well, it's between the butthole and underneath the testicles. And basically when we are fondling, basically sex is like we're just fondling. We're fondling that energy so much. We're stimulating so much that whole area gets desensitized. So we stimulate so much. It's like we're fondling, we're molesting all of that area so much, like pounding and pounding, that eventually it goes stark, really. It goes stark. It's like bleak. And what does that mean? It just means that it becomes barren of pleasure. A pleasure that loses its joy, its innocence, because it gets scrambled up in all of this fondling that we're doing to our bodies. Okay? So for sensitivity of the perineum, as well as just, we have through emergence with another person, when we come from a place, which a lot of us, we're so so neurotic and so impulsive and just so ready to get the edge off. But when we actually are ready, and a lot of times for men, it's not until like 35 that they're actually ready to like really clean their waters. Okay, really clean their waters. But when we clean our waters, that experience of joy that they say, even when we see in the ancient text of like tantric sexuality, it's a joy. It's not of taking the edge off, it's of joy. And when we come from that place, what is joy? It's special. It's extraordinary. It's exotic. It's unique. It's innocent. It's playful. It's compassionate. It's caring. It wants to share. It wants to express. It wants to be nurtured. It wants to nourish. That's what joy is. But when we overstimulate, we keep fondling with it, basically we dishonor it. And when we dishonor something long enough, it's like it loses its gift, it loses its power. And we all know this. If we dishonor something long enough about ourselves, we lose that part of ourselves, that gift. Okay? And that's what happens when we're just fondling with whoever and whenever. We dishonor it and we lose that gift. Okay? So the gift of joy, the gift of the perineum, the gift of being rooted in Mother Earth and experiencing the joy through grace and reverence and respect for the body, through raising your self-worth, through emerging with the best of yourself rather than the swampy, dirty waters of yourself. It is a sexual experience that it brings you a glowing arc line rather than an arc line that is filled with all of these people. So a glowing arc line, as we know, like people, have that glow of tantric sexuality is not necessarily penetration, but that glow of being really organic and in tune and native to your perineum, that glow. That glow, either it's from sex or just joy with yourself. That is what we call high honor for yourself, high honor for the person that you're with. So we never really think about the person that we're with having an effect on us, right? A lot of, especially young men, they don't realize that the person we're with does affect ourselves. It affects our perineum as a man and a woman. So that perineum, like I said, is our joy, is our innocence. So if we don't have honor for the person that we're with, we can talk about grace, respect, reverence. Basically, we are fondling. Okay, we're taking advantage. We are molesting that very almost the most sacred part of ourselves. It's sacred in the way that it is full of life. When we talk about it's full of passion, it's full of ecstasy, it's full of enthusiasm, charisma. It is a fire for life. It's our point that connects us with Mother Earth. And when we dishonor it, it gets boring, our connection to Earth. It gets stark, it gets bleak, it gets barren, it becomes meaningless. And when that part of ourselves, that most sacred part of ourselves becomes those things, then we tend to miss out on the perspective, the experience of being special, of seeking something special, of being extraordinary and seeking something extraordinary, being exotic and seeking something exotic, being respected or respectful to yourself and respecting other people. And that is basically the frameworks for integrity. Okay? So integrity, I've always saw it as the way that we treat that inner child part of ourselves, which is the vagina and the penis. The way that we treat that part of ourselves really shows our integrity, our respect for ourselves, and our sense of self-worth. And the thing is, that really determines how we show up in life. Not just in our personal relationships, but in all kinds of relationships, how we show up. Our self-worth is how we show up. Are we going to show up in an honorable way, in a way of being self-responsible for our emotions, our thoughts, our sexuality? Are we going to express ourselves in a way that brings harmony or disruption? It kind of sets up the way that we really have a sense of security within our life. So I've seen a lot of young boys and even older men who've had just so much sex, and now it's just like they're so dirty, with their water and their body is just so dirty with it that their sense of worth is so out of alignment with Mother Earth and with a sense of integrity, a sense of ground. We talk about being on the ground. Okay, which is like bowing to the ground, which is being respectful to the ground that you walk on. When we kind of lack that, we are basically a person who doesn't have joy. Okay. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of let you all know kind of what I'm seeing out there in the world. Okay, for all kinds of ages, particularly I'm seeing this for men, and it can be for women as well. So I've seen faces that are almost dried up, and I know that there's a direct correlation with their sex because it's gotten dried up because of how much of lack of joy there is with it. There's a lack of vitality with it. And that lack of vitality comes from we're not making something special. We're not allowing ourselves to be special. We're not allowing ourselves to receive what is special. We're not extraordinary or allowing ourselves to be extraordinary or allowing our partner to be extraordinary. So what happens is joy, it becomes like a numb. We're numb to joy. And like I said, joy it's so tender, it's so soft. If you desensitize that part of yourself, you'll miss it because it's so subtle. Like that is like the entryway to the vagina, or the vagina, as we know in sexual, like we call like the clitoris, I believe is the right term. I don't know much about parts of the vagina, but it's so sensitive, it's so tender, that if you are not a person really in tune with your body, really in tune with your emotions, in tune with your thoughts, in tune with your sensuality, your sexuality, you'll miss it. Okay? Because it's so soft, it's so subtle. And that's the thing with joy, it's so subtle. If you numb that part of yourself, then it's joy, it's just, you don't know how to get it, I guess. You don't know how to obtain it. So we should see ourselves as someone special, as someone extraordinary, someone exotic. Because when we see ourselves in that, almost like looking in the eyes of the entryway to the vagina, or the perineum of our lives, that innocence, that joy of ourselves, basically we are allowing ourselves to raise our worth. We're allowing ourselves to participate in a sexual encounter that's actually going to improve our vitality. Not in the way of overstimulating, overusing, abusing, fondling, molesting, whatever we're doing to it that's just too much. But in a way that is vitality that comes from being special, and the other is special. And this is special. And this is respected, and this is honored. Because I honor my body, I respect myself. And therefore, I do it with the partner. Because I know that without that, I lose my integrity. And without my integrity, I am really nothing special at all. I'm nothing extraordinary at all without my sense of integrity. And then my life becomes a game of just persuading people through my facades that I am special and extraordinary, but I don't have it inside of me because I gotten so numb to joy, got so scrambled in bleak, stark, barren, random sexuality that the tenderness, the softness of a touch or a conversation or just the presence of someone, I'm not there. And if we're not there, then what we call a life, you could say, or a friendship or a relationship that that doesn't flower us. We talk about being flowered, flowering. We went to flower ourselves. We went to bloom. That's kind of what joy is. We are breathing and we're coming more fully alive. We're blooming ourselves more organically, more native, more vibrant, more luminous. And that's kind of what we are in sexuality. We're flowering, we're blooming ourselves. But when it's not such things, then we miss out entirely on what the sex is about. The ancient practice of tantric sex. And we all know in our bones that the sex experience is one of what we call our highest spiritual experiences. It's the quickest, it is the most heightened spiritual experience of what we call oneness, or we call emergence, or what we call creation, or what we call being seen, being recognized, being felt. And that's why I feel like all of us are so ready to jump into it with just anyone, because at this time with the technology age, we feel so alone, we feel so like disconnected that we are jumping into these things not knowing really what we're doing, and then we miss out. We miss it completely. We do it more and more because we're yearning for more of that tiny feeling of connection. We do it more because we're not feeling it, and then we get scrambled, and then we can't feel at all the subtlety of ourselves and of our partner. So when we breathe into ourselves and we allow ourselves to be special, to be extraordinary, and allow ourselves to receive that, and to receive that, not anything but that, we can develop an integrity, and that integrity brings us joyful sexuality instead of just, this is boring, I'm just going to do it. It brings us joyful, because integrity is the pursuit of joy. Integrity is joy. Lack of integrity is joyless. It's just impulsive. It's neurotic. It's arrhythmic. It's dirty water. Integrity is joyful. Lack of integrity is joyless. It just becomes something that that's what it is. So when we look to the ancient practices of tantric sexuality, it's not just penetration. Let me just do it as quick as possible to get the edge off and, keep it moving. No, we see it as it's a slow process. It's a gradual process. It's a kind of step-by-step process. It's a process of listening. It's a process of sharing. It's a process of expression. It's a process of creativity, a process of friendship. And it's not just, I met this person, bam. No, we think of Krishna and Radha, Shiva, Shakti. They are deep friends. They are sharing, they're caring, they're including each other, they're listening, they're learning about each other. So we want that quick feeling of connection, of intimacy, but we don't want the self-responsibility of our emotions and of our thinking and of our sexual body and our sensual body, our energetic body, our physical body. We don't want their self-responsibility, but without that self-responsibility to ourselves, we don't have any self-responsibility to the person we're with. So the effect we have on them and the effect they have on us, it becomes, we're not really responsible for that. But the thing is, when we are coming from that place, there really is no pleasure for the other and for ourselves, because we're taking ownership for the emotions of that person and of ourselves, and for the thought, the energy, the physical, the sensual, the sexual body, the psyche and all the aura and everything. So when we think of Shiva and Shakti, it is really diving deep with each other. and in a way that a vulnerable and intimate way most of us, majority, never really go that deep with anybody in our lives, because I feel we are very much afraid of ourselves. It's not so much of another person. We're afraid of ourselves. We're afraid of going deep with ourselves because of the things that we'll find. Okay, because we've been basically taught for many generations that the mystery, what is dark about us, what is a shadow about us, what is expansive about us, we should be afraid of, because we should judge those parts of ourselves that are unresolved, or those parts of ourselves that are totally authentic, or a little playful, a little bit like wanky, a little bit kind of like raw and real and untainted or something. We fear that because we've felt for so many generations that we have to oppress ourselves. We have to oppress ourselves. That actually unraveling ourselves with ourselves is almost the most challenging thing we could do. It's so challenging to unravel ourselves, especially in front of another person. But we do it because that flower, okay, we say about the blooming of that flower is our worth. And the highest reverence is our worth. And we know that is our true sense of joy. And everything else is just like some sort of fake thing that we do that is like we're lying to ourselves. But at the end of the day, it never feels quite right, does it? It never really brings us anywhere, because joy is something so subtle. You have to be a listener. You have to share. You have to express. You have to be attentive. You have to be self-responsible, or you'll miss it entirely. If you're a man, you'll miss that woman is showing signs of some sort of something's going on with her body, and she's like getting some sort of bliss. But if you're so like unresponsible as a man to your own pleasure, your own emotional health, mental health, sensual, sexual health, physical health, you'll miss the responsibility as Krishna, would have with Radha, to basically help her, move that bliss through her body, or vice versa. So this is kind of the tantric sexuality, is not through penetration necessarily, but through just being with each other. We can help each other to raise energy. Literally, we're raising energy. We're moving energies in certain ways that can help the other. We always think about ourselves. No, to help the other to maybe receive some sort of energy within their body, some sort of bliss that maybe can help them overcome a trauma of their childhood, or help them overcome, let's say they were in a car crash and they're carrying the shock of that car crash within their physical body. So the energy of just like the eye gazing or just being with each other, it helps to maybe amplify that thing, whatever it may be, energetic block, and through the bliss of just the breathing together and the rhythm can help the other to move that energy block in a certain way that creates what we call orgasmic release, orgasmic restoration, which is basically an energy that might have been blocked within any sort of part of the body. Through the sexual encounter, it brings it up, and then the orgasm comes from when you let it go. And it's like, whoa, like when you release any blockages, like trauma, or just like a car crash, like I said, or something, like a heartbreak or anything, that's like orgasm. Really, that can bring so much high energy to your life, like ecstasy, to finally feel that energy move out of your body and like, oh, it's gone. Whoa, I feel so much space. I feel so much free in my body. Like, whoa, I didn't know I could feel so free now that I let go of this tension I've been holding on to for maybe since I was a little boy or a little girl. So the touch. So Reiki people know this. Any sort of energy healer know this. So this is what we call about, this is also sexuality, the touch. When we're touching each other, it is very sensual, it's very sexual, okay? But not in what we always think of sexuality. We think of just, mopping a bucket, just pounding each other until somebody, gets their whatever ejaculation, and then, move on to something else, or, oh, we finished. But sexuality, when you get so sensitive to your joy, to your perineum, it is something that you're bending, you're folding, you're curving with. It's expressed, it's emotional, it's intellectually received, it's aurically received, it's in the arc line, it's special and extraordinary, and seeking that, only that, in partnerships. Then we get so subtle within ourselves that the simplest touch of another, or from that partner, or the touch we give to our partner, is almost like electric. So it's like the penetration is not even what gives us that joy or that orgasmic restoration. It could be just that touch, because we're so electric in our vitality, we're so electric in our how special and extraordinary we are, that the touch or the eye gaze or the hug or just the snuggle or whatever is so magnetic. It's so intimate, it's so raw and real and authentic, and it's a friendship, and it's sharing, and it's caring, and it's including and expressing, and it's creative, and it's wholeheartedly available to the self, and the self that's growing and maturing, and the self that is discerning, and the self that is flexible and bending over obstacles quite rhythmically. That is what we call the joy in sexuality that a majority of us are not experiencing. It's like, I'm kind of stressed from work. I've been doing, backbending work on something. I need to just get sex going so I can get the edge off. Oh, I got the edge off. I feel bored. It doesn't really feel like anything exciting. Oh, I'll do it again. Maybe with somebody else, different this time. Oh, it's kind of boring. This person, dirty water. And when by the time you're 40, you're just like disgusted, like, by sex. And that's what I'm seeing in people's auras. I'm seeing that. Okay? So, cleaning up the waters is, I can give you a little meditation for cleaning up the waters, the dirty waters. But again, it's dirty waters, I see, for people, it really shows their integrity, especially for men. And that's the challenge for men, because even like we could say like Krishna and Radha Shiva Shakti would say, for men, even Nikola Tesla would say that integrity for a man is constantly challenged by the more primal animal side of man. But when man really gets a hold of that, like you get control of your mind, your mind becomes your servant instead of your master. For men, when your body or your animal self is not your master but your servant, then your body can transform into joy, which is, for men, it's not animal. Joy is an animal becoming a human, and a human becoming a humanitarian to the self and to the other and to the planet. That's what we call the integrity of man. Okay? So, I'll just give you a little meditation. I've given this before, but I feel like this is a way for men particularly, as well as women, to clear up the dirty waters, because the dirty waters, for men and women, it just scrambles you up to the point where you're numb. Okay? You're numb, you have these attachments, you're interlocked with all these kind of subconscious things of other people and yourself, and okay? So, you just sit straight up. You can do this for 3 minutes. Could do this for 31 minutes. So hands cupping. So it's kind of imagine, this is visualization. You can have your eyes closed and almost like you're going to swoop up and you're scooped behind your head. And imagine that if you have any dirty waters, that you're lifting it up and you're throwing it behind you. And at the same time, imagining that you're also inviting in clean waters of joy and of integrity and of being special and extraordinary and seeking that from a partner. Okay, seeking cleanliness in a partner, cleanliness in a relationship, friendship. That's cleanliness. It's friendship. Because that implies that you're self-responsible, that you're self-responsible in this connection. You want to learn, you want to discover, you want to share, you want to care, you want to include, you want to express. And those who don't want to do any of that, women, particularly for women, that guy is not going to give you good pleasure. Because if he's not self-responsible to the friendship, that is sharing, caring, expressing, being creative, learning, listening, discovering, which is consistency, which does not happen overnight. If a man's not willing to be that, then most likely he doesn't have the subtlety or the sensitivity to actually really give you that true orgasmic restoration. So to have orgasmic restoration for women is, a man needs to know you. He needs to know your childhood, yourself. And for a woman, a man as well, he needs to know you, or a woman needs to know you if you're a man. Okay? Because then it's depth that you're exploring, and not just animals like procreation. It's depth, spiritual, emotional, intellectual depth. Okay, so here we go. Goes just cleaning out the dirty water, and if you can visualize dirty water, visualize you're cupping it up, you're splashing it behind you while inviting in clean water. Okay. Waheguru, 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 Guru, Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru. Inhale, arms behind the head. Really allow the dirty waters to be cleaned from you as though you've baptized yourself. Bringing in integrity, bringing in self-worth, bringing in what is special and extraordinary. Don't clutter your field, because when you clutter your field with just randomness that does not raise your self-worth or give you friendship, basically you're blocking yourself from being special and extraordinary and receiving that from life. And joy is just that. Exhale. Okay. So there you go. That's a powerful meditation. I recommend that for any man who has had an interesting sex past. Meaning maybe you've had a lot of sexual partners that you're quite, it's a lot. You may be kind of numb right now because of that. That's really good to clean out the dirty waters. So for men who have a lot of dirty waters because of, a lot of sex with just a bunch of people and it's kind of all scrambled, miscellaneous, kind of just not really special, extraordinary. What happens is, for men particularly, it can be very be a blockage. Okay, it can just fill your space. Okay, and you need spaciousness for joy. You can't be cluttered. You need spaciousness, tidiness. So that's a way to kind of bring in that spaciousness so that when you are ready, available to yourself to actually receive friendship from another, then it becomes joy instead of just more dirty water to the water. Okay? So, and as well for women as well. It's particularly special for women because women, they a lot of times hold the man in their psyche. Okay? They hold the neurotic tendencies of the man and their psyche, which is connected to their nervous system. So as women, you may notice that your nervous system may be interlocked with the nervous system of your male partner, because women, that's just kind of what happens. So, meaning you're starting to show maybe neurotic or impulsive or reactive kind of tendencies that are reflecting your sexual partner. And that's a way to kind of clear it out. Any sort of thing that you're kind of having move through your nervous system, your psyche, that is connected to this man. So men very much are connected to, that impulse, being reactive, the smelling out the pheromones of the female and of other men to kind of size them up. And as women, that's kind of very much what we take on. So when we have a partner where we're in a depth with, we're in a friendship with, basically we are wanting to create a rhythm with each other that's going to help both. Not just, you just do it because, I just want to horny and do it, but you don't really understand your effect you have on someone and the effect they have on you, and therefore the consequences of that effect. So as young boys, we don't really think about that, the effect we have on all of our sex partners and what they have on us. But when we do mature, we realize that, yes, as a woman, I very much carry this nervous system of this man and have some sort of weird neurotic or impulsive things that are from that kind of effect. And as a man, it's not so much we carry it in our psyche as men, the woman in our psyche, but we very much do. It can dirty our waters for both. Okay. Because men, as we know, even in the wild males, they don't really carry, it's just, just kind of, you want to spread the seed as everywhere as possible kind of thing. But yes, that was a meditation to help you get back to your joy. Okay, so Sat Nam.